Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be joining from. I am HR Funk, and welcome to my Friday afternoon with HR live stream. I thought this would be a good time to get together. This is the first time that I've actually had a chance to fire up the computer for a live stream since we got back from our trip overseas. And I didn't have much going on this afternoon, so I thought we could all get together and hopefully have a good dialogue back and forth. If anyone wants to join the show in person, all you have to do is send me an email to the email address that you see going across the bottom of the screen there. And I will send you a link. And once you get the link, you can click on it. It will bring you here and I will allow you to come into the room and we can actually speak face to face, so to speak. If you don't want to be seen on camera, make sure you turn your camera off and you can join just by audio if you prefer to do that instead. So far, we've got a few people in here. I saw Jeff Tim is here. Lucky One has been talking to me for a while. Now we've been talking in the chat dialogue over here on the side. Camp David is here. And thanks to everyone for joining. It's kind of a dreary day here in Ohio today. And I thought, again, this would be a great time to stay inside for a live stream. I've got my cup of coffee here. And also, I'm wearing a brand new shirt from Hot Munitions. I went to Hot Munitions the other day, and they had these shirts there for sale. I thought, wow, that's a cool shirt. So I got me one, and I thought I'd wear that for the live stream today. Just got a comment in here, and this is Jeff Tim just advising people regarding their audio if they come in as a guest on the show here. I have some things coming up on the channel here over the course of the next several weeks. I'm actually waiting for some things to happen so I can get some videos made. One of them is I've got two handguns that are off at different places having different things done to them. And once they get back, I'll finally be able to get some video recorded with those and update you all a little bit on what's going on with them. I've got a great video coming up tomorrow. It's one of these videos that I always enjoy doing because it's one where I'm looking at something that I don't know of anybody who has ever explored this particular topic before. So I always like those. It's interesting to see the type of feedback that I get. So everyone, that's going to go live tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you join the premiere, there will be a live chat just like this one going on, and I will be present for that. So feel free to join. Richard Williams is a new subscriber, says love the channel. Thank you very much, Richard. Thanks for the subscription and welcome aboard. Jeff Tim says that shirt only one pocket. Yes, only one pocket. When I see myself on the screen, it's like a mirror image, so that's why I'm reaching for the wrong side for the pocket. But yes, one pocket on this side and a recoil pad on this side. So yeah, I really like the shirt. It's very cool. Where was I? I was talking about tomorrow's video. We've got some other things coming up next week that I think should be of interest. I hope you all liked the review that I did over the last week with the MMC site. I was very happy to see that company back in business. And it's one of those names from way back in the day. And when I found they were still around and they were making something that I thought was going to work well for me, I was really kind of excited to get that site and get it installed and get back out and do some shooting with that pistol again. And if you saw that video, you know that worked out very well. So that was a relatively easy way to cure an ill with that particular handgun, and it is now shooting very, very well. Jeff Tim referenced bore height. Height over bore. Didn't someone do a GP 100 versus Chiappa Rhino? If so, I didn't see it. So I can't say for sure. Also in the news, on I think it's the 14th through the 16th of next month of April, I'm going to be attending the NRA annual meeting, which is going to be in Indianapolis again this year. So if any of you are going to be there, you might see me walking around. If you see me, feel free to come up and say hi. I always enjoy meeting people and talking to you about, your ideas and things you've seen in the videos and things like that. So don't be shy. If you see me, be sure to come up and say hi at the NRA annual meeting. And that's always a big thing for me because I enjoy the exhibit hall and I go through there and I see some things that maybe I'll be able to get in the future to feature in videos. Other times I meet people. There are some people in the industry that I only see like once a year when I go to that thing. It's always nice to see some of my sponsors there, and there should be some folks there from Targets Online. I know I'm going to have some people there from Optics Planet. Who else is going to be there? I don't know if Hot Munitions is going to be there or not. I'll have to ask them if they're going to the NRA annual meeting. It's close enough that I hope they're going, but it's always nice to talk to those folks too. And Jeff Tim says, Ops makes that bore over Axis. I blame the spell check. Okay. This supposed to be oops. Al Bagley, any thoughts on shooting some drills, e.g. FBI, Air Marshal, or Old Bakersfield PD? I keep wanting to do those, and I keep thinking that, I want to get back out. I want to shoot some of the federal courses. I've got some courses from foreign law enforcement agencies. I've got a qualification course from the UK. I've got one from Canada. I've got one from somewhere else, Belgium or somewhere. So I've got some foreign courses that I'd like to shoot. And it's one of those things that I've got two things that I'm working against. One of them is my production schedule with all the stuff that I have as a backlog that I'm trying to get into videos. The other thing, and I've mentioned this before, I don't have the range to use currently that I was able to use when I was recording the law enforcement qualification series. And when I had that range available to me, I could go out there and do pretty much anything I wanted to. And there was nobody else on the range that was that I was going to be interfering with or anything else. Now that I'm using a range that belongs to a private club, there are times that there are other shooters out there and I have to be careful. I can't, set up targets in an array and shoot and move quite as easily and things like that, unless I just happen to be there all by myself, which happens sometimes. You'll notice that in some of the videos, there's nobody else there, but I never know when another car is going to pull in and somebody's going to start to unpack. And all of a sudden, if I've just gotten done putting everything in place to do something like shoot a qualification course, then all of a sudden I might not be able to do it because now somebody else has shown up. And for safety reasons and just out of courtesy, it's not really right for me to take up the entire range with what I'm doing for a video. Milkman is here, says hello from Kansas. Hello to you. Gilmer Phillips says it's old hat, but what's your opinion on 45 ACP versus 9mm? I'm a fan of the 45, but I also recognize the 9mm as a viable cartridge. So I'm not one of these people that says, one way or the other, this is how you got to go. I carry both of them, just different times based on different circumstances. I feel comfortable with either one of them. So I really don't have a strong preference one way or the other. If I had to choose one, it would be the 45 ACP, but that's more out of nostalgia and just years and years and years worth of familiarity with that cartridge. But I really don't have a big problem with the 9mm either. And Art Grote is here. How you doing, Art? Speaking of the 45 ACP, you guys are going to see another 45 ACP chambered handgun coming very soon, and it's one that I'm very excited about. I'm not going to tell you much about it. It's going to be a surprise, but I think it's one you're all going to find pretty interesting, and I can't wait to get it here in front of the camera. What else do I have for news to tell you about? Talked about the NRA annual meeting. We're coming into the summertime months, so the match season is going to be starting up again. Hopefully this year I'm going to be able to make it back to some rifle matches. Last year when I was still working my private security job, between working the schedule for that job and my daughter's graduation from high school and all kinds of other things going on, I didn't make it to a single rifle match last year. And I really hate that. So hopefully this year I can get back out again, get back to shooting on the competition range, hopefully make it back up to Camp Perry again this year. Didn't even get to make it up to the national matches last year. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also starting to explore an instructor position. And this is something that for various reasons, I can't go into a lot of detail on, but it's something that has come up here in the last couple of months. I'm exploring it. Depending on how that all shakes out, I might have more information for some of you in the future, especially some of you that might be interested in attending some instruction that we would be providing. So stay tuned on that one. It's not really going to be a component of the YouTube channel, but I may well mention it on YouTube and Rumble. Don't forget the Rumble channel. In fact, I'm going to have another Rumble exclusive video coming in conjunction with my next Wednesday video, because I've got footage that YouTube won't allow along with the footage that I'm going to have on YouTube. So watch for that coming up too. Command Center 10-8 says, good afternoon. What are your thoughts on the Smith & Wesson 640? Good little revolver. I tend to like the traditional 640 with the tapered barrel and the 38 special version a little bit more than I like the newer one that's chambered for the 357 Magnum, because they made it a little bit heavier, mostly in the barrel. But it's a great little revolver. I'm a fan of the J frames, and I think they're a little better suited to the 38 special cartridge. Not that they're going to come apart or anything. Obviously, they'll withstand the pressures of a 357 Magnum cartridge. But I just, as a shooter with the variety of 38 special ammunition out there and plus P and everything else, I just like them a little bit better as a 38 special. What I really like is my 940 chambered for the 9mm cartridge. But for whatever reason, Smith & Wesson discontinued those about 20 odd years ago, and I've never seen any indication that they might bring something like that back, which is too bad. I'd love to see something like that in a Airlight or another J-frame format like that. And I'm missing the comments. And as usual, I'll throw this in now. If I miss your comment when I'm rambling like I just was, and sometimes, especially when the comments really start to go fast, they're not going too fast right now, but when they really start going up the screen, sometimes I might miss your comment. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I just didn't see it. So if you have to put something in there a couple of times to get a response, or if I just miss it altogether, I apologize. Jeff Tim says, a Glock 30S. By the way, how are the kids doing? Doing great. In fact, my son and daughter-in-law are going to be up tomorrow. They're supposed to be coming probably not long after tomorrow's video premiere. They'll be showing up, coming up from the Columbus area, so we should have a good time. Wouldn't mind getting my daughter-in-law. She's been wanting to spend some time on the range and start to learn some things about firearms and do some shooting. I wouldn't mind trying to get her out there tomorrow, but I'm not sure if the weather's going to cooperate. We're going to have to see how things go with that. But regardless of what we do, that should be a great time. My daughter's also doing fantastic. I might have said in the last live stream, she made the Dean's List in her first semester at the University of South Carolina. So good for her. She's been accepted into the School of Music down there, which is fantastic. And the other day she told me she has a boyfriend. Not sure what to think of that idea, but maybe there's some things that I don't need to know about what's going on down there. But in any regard, she's doing fantastic, and I'm very proud of her and very happy for her. And now I've completely lost where I was in the comments over here. Any thoughts on mid-range price 1911s? And they're calling for 25 to 35 mile per hour winds. Yeah, that figures. You know, the 1911s coming out of Turkey and also Bull Armory coming out of Israel are in that, mid-tier price range, and they seem to be really, really good firearms. Rock Island Armory continues to do pretty well for being a mid-range 1911. I got the Ivor Johnson not long ago, which is actually produced in the Philippines. And that one, other than that weird point of aim, point of impact deviation that I was able to correct with the MMC sights, that's been a very good pistol, very reliable pistol. So, I mean, there's a lot of good options out there these days. Most of them are imports. When we start looking at the domestically produced 1911s, generally the prices are going higher and higher. Smith & Wesson makes a decent 1911. Ruger makes a decent 1911. Obviously, Springfield Armory makes a decent 1911, but the prices are generally higher than what we see with some of the imports coming in that are, as I said, pretty darn good quality. And I'm trying to find where I was again. Ben Crane, match season starts tomorrow at their club. Oh, okay. That's where you were talking about the 25 to 30 mile an hour winds. I think the first time that I ever shot in a match at one of my clubs, and this is, oh, geez, what would have been 2007, 2008, something like that. It was March, or yeah, I think it was March or April. And we actually literally had 50-mile-an-hour winds that day. The only good thing about it was they were coming directly from our 12 o'clock. So at least it wasn't coming from the side where we're blowing back and forth like this as we were trying to shoot. But that was a rough day. Lucky One says front runner is Tezos pistols out of Turkey. Okay, it looks like he was responding to that other question. El Bagley, 38 special carry ammo, Chief. Always favored the simplicity of wad cutters myself. Yeah, I really like the old FBI / St. Louis / Chicago 38 special semi wad cutter plus P load. And I think Buffalo Bore and somebody else makes a load pretty similar to that these days. I don't think Winchester is chambering it or loading it anymore. If so, I haven't seen a box of it forever. But I like that stuff. Spear Gold Dot 38 specials are pretty good if you prefer something that's a more modern jacketed hollow point. Any of the premier or premium defensive loads in 38 special from the major factories is going to be pretty good. For short barrels, I think Spear is still loading that 135 grain plus P short barrel load, which is what I use in my short barrel 38s. So anything along those lines is I think, really good in a 38 special cartridge. Thomas White's here. How you doing, Tom? Rich Powers is here. Glad you made it, Rich. And by the way, in case you missed it in the video, Rich was the one that loaned me that BRG 9 that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. For the price that those things are going for, I thought that was a heck of a pistol. Ben Crane, glad to hear your daughter got Mimi's brains and is doing well. Yes, she did. Absolutely. Definitely got her mother's brains. As for BF, I've got shovels. Actually, I've met this guy. He's a nice young man, which is what I would expect. I really didn't have a lot of concern that she was going to run into somebody that was not going to treat her well or be anyone to be concerned about. We met him when we were down there back in the fall at some point, maybe November. And at that time, they either hadn't started dating or had just gone out once or something like that. But she informed me a few days ago that they've been dating now for a while. So I'm actually happy for her. Good for her. And like I said, he seems like a nice young man. I got to tell you this. She was worried about telling me this. She was afraid I was going to be upset. So when she told me, I said just what I said a minute ago. I'm happy for you. That's great. He seems like a nice young man. Yada yada yada. So she goes at the end of the conversation. So I don't have to worry about a red laser dot showing up on his chest or his forehead. And I said, no, I don't use lasers for long range shooting. I use precision why let anybody know what's coming? No, actually, I said no. As long as he treats you well and everything is good with you guys, then I'm happy. So no problems. Rookie Spartan, glad you made it. Happy Friday to you. Eric Sandstorm, Sandstrom rather. Good afternoon, Chief. Any thoughts on 38 special versus 9mm? Picked up an RIA M200. Was wondering if it's even worth buying a holster for. I carry the cat. I have not handled, shot, or otherwise done anything with an M200. I've seen them on shelves, but I really don't know anything about them. As far as 38 special loads for it, the things that I was talking about before, the old FBI load or the Buffalo Bore equivalent to that, or something like the Spear Gold Dot or Federal oh, what is their personal defense line? It's not the one they're loading in 38 special. Any of those is going to be a good option. Jeff Tim, does Ruger 1911 have a staked plunger tube, or is it cast? I think that one's cast into the frame, isn't it? I think. I'm not certain, but I think it is. Jeff Tim fired the 200 grain Super Police round out of a 38 alloy J frame, changed back to the Ruger Security 6. I would imagine that probably bucked a little bit. Richard Williams enjoyed the laser red dot. Rookie Spartan, retired LEO father with an arsenal, is causing the daughter some work. Well, maybe a little bit of that is such a bad thing. Rich Power has got the BRG dialed in. They sent me a couple of new mags that solved the hollow point feed issues. Good. I'm glad that was all that it took. I'm glad they accommodated you that quickly. And when I downloaded it by one round, I think there are 16 round magazines, if I remember right. I downloaded it to 15 and it ran fine. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the issue was there, but I'm glad that they got it taken care of and they got it all dialed in and you're happy with it. Yeah, Ben Crane thinks that that's cast as well. I do think that's a cast plunger tube. Or rather that the plunger tube is cast as part of the frame is what I'm saying. But wow, we got a pretty good group here. And well, this is odd. The number up here where it normally tells me how many people are watching says 0. So maybe nobody's watching me. Everybody's just chatting over here in the side. I don't know. But that's extremely strange. I trust everyone can see me okay and hear me okay. Scott Person is here from North Carolina. Hello, Scott. Thanks for joining. L. Bagley says Fusion firearms are premium 1911s for very good prices. Bob Serva used to be the president of Dan Wesson. Okay. So the follower was molded incorrectly. I am surprised that caused a problem with the top round, but if the new magazine solved the issue, that's great. Lucky One says 25 was watching. Yeah, mine says 0. That's the weirdest thing. Rookie Spartan, we're all figments of HR's imagination. Well, that could be. I'm just here talking to myself and imagining that there are actually people out there, which could be. I mean, all I see is myself when I'm looking at this, and nobody's taken me up yet to come on as a guest. So once again, if anybody wants to come on as a guest and actually have a conversation, shoot me an email, and I will get you a link to bring you on, and we can actually talk face to face. Eric Sandstrom, has anybody ever tried to get replacement parts out of Taurus? I've never tried to get replacement parts, but I know their customer service can be somewhat difficult. And I know from not personal experience, but from knowing people who have owned Taurus products who have tried to get them serviced, and that was not as easy to do as it is with some other companies. I would imagine trying to get replacement parts is similarly not real easy to do. Jeff Tim just looked at an exploded drawing of the Ruger 1911. The tube does not have a part number, nor is it separated from the frame. Okay. So that would tend to answer the question then. It looks like it is part of the frame. Eddie XOC, Eddie Exoc. I'm not sure which way to pronounce that. Not sure if you would like to take the time for any detailed explanation, but your thoughts on a 16-inch barrel versus 20 or 22-inch barrel for a 308 setup, harmonics, terminal ballistics, etc. That all comes down on what you're going to be doing with it. Obviously, for a long range system, you want the longest barrel for the maximum velocity, the flattest trajectory, and the greatest energy on the receiving end. If you're going to be using it for closer distances, and especially if you're going to be maneuvering with it, if it's going to be something that you're going to be using either indoors or in confined spaces or whatever, and the engagement distances are going to be very close, then the shorter barrel, the 16-inch barrel, is going to be fine. So it's really difficult to come up with a best on that because it all depends on what you're going to be using it for. When I was still deploying on as a sniper, I would choose my system that I was going to deploy with based on the operation that I was going to be engaging in that particular day. And, one time I might have one rifle that was better for that type of an operation. The next time, with different circumstances, I might have a different system that I was taking. So again, you really can't get a best or a blanket statement on that. Eric Sandstrom, they wanted me to send the TX22 for a slide stop and spraying, not happening. Companies are getting stranger and stranger. That's not just Taurus, but a lot of other companies who are trying to get parts so you can do work on things yourself is becoming more and more difficult because it's such a liability issue for a lot of different companies. Elaine's domain. Glad you made it. So you got here after all. Good. Lucky one, the Roger Gunsight Scout. Roger? I think that's supposed to be Ruger. The Ruger Gunsight Scout is an excellent all-around rifle. It is, but again, that one, if you're looking for something for long range type use, it's going to have some limitations there. So again, really trying to come up with a best, there is only really a best for a certain circumstance. And even then, there's probably some room for debate. Eric Sandstrom, my issue with the TX22 would lock back on a magazine that was not empty. After months of screwing around, got it to where it was sometimes locked back or sometimes doesn't lock back on an empty. And that's the thing with the TX22, and I reviewed one of those a couple of years ago, and it seemed like a nice enough little pistol, but there were some things about it that I didn't like, and I had some functioning issues, and there were some people, every once in a while I still get a comment on that video where people talk about they've had one and they've run, 1 million rounds through it and never had a problem and anything else, which is great. But it just seems to be with Tauruses, if you get a good one, they run great. If you get a not such a good one, then you might have some issues. So you just never seem to know quite what you're going to get with Taurus. And Elaine's domain is checking out already. Glad you made it for at least a little bit, ED. Jeff Tim, is anyone using a combo ear protection hearing aid system? Bought one, not impressive. I don't have anything like that. I've got some of the earmuffs with the speakers on so I can hear what's going on outside. And I've got the one that's a Walker's that actually is ear plugs, but they're electronic so I can hear things that are coming through. I've never tried to use actually a hearing aid. I've seen those little things that go in and they suppress things like gunshots, but still they supposedly help to assist you with your hearing, but I've never tried one. I probably should, although my issue mostly is tinnitus, and I don't know if a hearing aid is going to help with that because it's not so much the volume needs to be turned up as it is, the tinnitus tends to cancel out some frequencies, and that's why I don't hear things sometimes. Can't imagine why I'd have that. I do try to be careful with what hearing I have left. And this just took a jump. Eric Sandstrom didn't see any sense in being without the gun for weeks when it takes 10 minutes to fix. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to get those parts or not. It might be a situation where if you want to get it repaired, you're going to end up having to send it back. I don't know. RJL, nice to see you live and breathing. That's good to be live and breathing. Thanks for joining. Savage Lee got a good Taurus, a G2C, modified a little bit, but nothing major. Yeah, and well, ERJG 1954, who I guess is a little under the weather here today, or he would probably be with us. But he's got, two or three of those things that he really, really likes. And that's another handgun that, if you get a good one and it works well, the prices are reasonable. So, I can't really say anything bad about them. I reviewed one. In fact, I reviewed one of his. And there were some things about it I didn't care for, but for what is it, a sub $300 gun, if you get it on sale, it's hard to complain too much. Richard Williams, what's your favorite carry? That's like saying, who's your favorite child? What I carry varies depending on, and this is going to sound a lot like I was just talking about with sniper rifles a minute ago. Depends upon where I'm going, what my threat expectations are there, how I'm dressed, which usually is based on what the weather is like. I have different things that I carry. The video that I did a couple of weeks ago where I was talking about my most accurate backup pistols, a lot of those handguns are also handguns that I carry pretty frequently. So my Springfield Armory Hellcat, my Smith & Wesson 342 Ti, what else did I have in there? My Walther PPKS, love to carry that thing. Sometimes I'll carry a full-size 1911. Today I've got a full-size M&P 9 that you're going to see coming up in a video in the not-too-distant future. So it just kind of all depends on the day and what's going on. And like I said, how I'm dressed, where I'm going, who might be there when I get there, all those kind of things. Rookie Spartan, best firearm to have when leading Marines against the British in Scotland. Two of them, an M14 and a 1911. How's that for old school? No, I tell you what, we had a great time in Scotland. Everybody there was fantastic. It just seems like, I don't know, a friendlier culture, if you will, over there. We spent most of our time in Edinburgh. We did travel up through the Highlands the one day, went all the way up to Loch Ness. Took a boat out onto Loch Ness. I think, and if some of you missed the live stream that I produced when I was in Scotland, I had some major issues over there. It only lasted about half an hour or so, and it's still up. If you want to go back and watch it, you can. But I was relying on hotel internet service, and we all know that doesn't always work so well. And toward the end, it started freezing, and I was having all kinds of problems, and it just sort of unceremoniously ended. So any of you that were there and the live stream just stopped, I apologize. But anyway, go back to my story. Took the boat out on Loch Ness, got a couple of pictures of Nessie out there, had some scotch on the boat while I was on Loch Ness. So that's something that kind of a unique experience. But what I noticed is the more scotch I drank, the easier it was to see Nessie. I'm not sure what the correlation is there, but maybe Nessie is a fan of Scotch whiskey. But just had a really, really good time while we were in Scotland. And looks like Ben Crane wants to join us. How about that? So let me get Ben a link quick to the stream here. Uh-oh. That's not working, so I'm going to have to come back over here for a minute. And give me just a second here, folks. Bear with me. Technology is cooperating with me about as much as it always does. All right, now we got Ben a link that's on the way to him. Ben, when you get that, just click on it. I think you've done this before. I think you've been on here before, so you kind of know the drill. But it'll come here, and I'll let you into the room. Anyway, where was I talking about Nessie and Scotch whiskey and what? Anyway, we had a great, great time. I posted the picture from the haunted vaults underneath Edinburgh a few days ago on the community post. If any of you saw that picture, and if you look there's like an archway in that picture, And if you look at the right side of the archway, there's kind of this vague outline there. And I don't know. I just thought, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'll throw it out there. And I got some people saying, I don't see anything. And I got other people saying, yeah, there's a ghost there. So take a look at that. If you didn't see it, let me know if you think you see a ghost. And there's Ben.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing, Ben?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good. Not working today?
By Friday, usually about 2 o'clock, things are pretty quiet. I'm still at the desk and just handling anything that comes in, but figured I could spare a couple of minutes.
All right, that's great. Yeah, and I was hoping with this time on a Friday afternoon, maybe there were some folks that would get off work early and just not have a lot to do that would kind of chime in here and join the stream. So I'm glad you're able to join.
Yeah, the benefits of being salary, they've definitely got their 40 out of me so far for this week.
That takes me back to my days as a police chief and the old salary thing.
Yeah, and they may call you at 10 o'clock on a Friday night and need you to do something. So
I think the
couple of weeks ago, I got called out for storm duty actually while we were watching one of your premieres on Saturday morning. Emails started flying out at like 8 o'clock, and I had to run.
I think the best one I ever got, and everyone, you'll appreciate this. I'm sound asleep. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm awakened by my phone ringing right next to my head. And it's one of my officers who's in a pursuit asking me questions about what he should do in the pursuit. So you talk about trying to shake the cobwebs out, and what you're doing. Yes. There's a reason police chiefs have stress-related illnesses and one thing and another.
Humans are designed for, short bursts of stress, and it's the long-term stuff that just gets you. But yeah, I'm starting to learn that.
Yes.
So anything new, coming up? I did see, made me think of you with the fact that Hot Munitions seems to get everything that SAR produces. Have you seen they've got like a 586 clone?
I think I don't remember if I saw that there. It seems like I saw it somewhere.
I didn't see it at the shop. Military Arms Channel actually dropped a video on it recently, and I saw that and thought, yeah, would be interested in getting your thoughts on that if they come up with one that they're going to shoot.
Yeah, if they get one in, they would probably let me borrow that. They are so good to me. By the way, how you like to
look at Sharp there. I've got a hat actually on top of my safe over there. But I ended up buying one of their hats when I was in there because they're good dudes.
Yeah, they are. Did they have these shirts in there when you were in there?
I didn't see those. They just had that little hat rack there by the checkout.
When I went in there, I went in there a week or two ago, and they had these things on that rack. And I was like, "Those are Sharp shirts. I like those." So, like I said at the beginning of the video, I got myself one, and I thought I'd wear it for the live stream today.
Well, a little advertising.
Yeah, what the heck. But I started to say they are so good to me. I go in there, and if I ask to borrow something, sure, here you go. I had to fill out some paperwork, so now they just punch it into the computer that it's signed out for marketing purposes or whatever.
So you don't even have to do a 4473 for a transfer.
No, I was doing that for a long time for the first probably close to a year that I was borrowing firearms for them. I had to fill out 4473 every time, and now they just sort of check it out to me, and everything's nice and legal like, and I'm able to get it up for a review. But everyone out there, Hot Munitions, great bunch of people. They support me like crazy. So a way to support the channel is by helping support them. So
I did shoot some of that 357 SIG that I bought. It's nice and toasty. It's quick stuff. It's ball ammo, but it's loaded in nickel-plated Speer brass. It's just weird to see that kind of a high-quality brass with I think they're a 95 grain. It's like they loaded a 380 bullet in it, but it's trucking it, I think, almost 1,400 feet per second. It's pretty quick.
That must be the thing, because they keep telling me they have a 95 grain 38 super load, and I haven't gotten any of it yet. And I keep wanting to try that out because the stuff that I had, the 115 grain stuff was clocking 1480, I think, out of a 5-inch 1911. And the 124 grain stuff was just about 100 feet per second slower. It's like 1380 out of a 5-inch 1911.
Yeah, that's moving.
I'd like to try that 95 grain load just to see what it'll do.
But yeah, I was highly impressed with their gun room. I mean, they have some phenomenal things hanging on the wall. I mean, I first walked in, eye drawn to that Korth that was hanging there. Then they had those two color case hardened standard manufacturing 1911s. Those were stunning.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store when I go in there. I'm like looking around.
Yeah, they had I think they had a stainless Delta Elite and a blue Delta Elite. Those are always fun to see, the 10 mil Colts. And then they had my holy grail gun, which is the Nightmare Carry Fastback SIG in 357 SIG. And sitting there looking at it going, my wife will murder me if I spend $1,600 on a 1911 right
now. Well, tell her it was a deal. It was on sale. I couldn't pass it up.
The price keeps going up on those Nightmare Carries because they're not making them anymore. They were selling for like $1,200 when they were selling them from SIG. Now, if you can find one at $1,600, you're doing good, both 45 or 357.
Yeah, that's like I was looking at a Colt M45A1 the other day. I would love to have one of those things, and the price on those is just going up and up and up. And I'm probably never going to own one, but I'd love to have one.
Yeah.
All right, Ben.
Well, yeah, I'll pop out of here so everybody can get back to getting their questions answered. But it's good seeing you, and I'll be back in the live chat down there, guys.
All right. Take care, Ben.
Have a good one.
And that's the way it's done, folks. If you want to come on as a guest, feel free. Just like Ben did there a moment ago, you just send me an email to this email address going across there. I'll send you a link and bring you right onto the show here. And I'm sorry because I was talking to Ben and blabbing and completely being oblivious, I guess, to the comments over here. So I'm just going to kind of jump in here somewhere and try to get some questions. Savage Lee, single malt, aged at least 20 years. You know what? We had some really young Scotch over there. We had some stuff that... and there's something about the way that some of the distilleries are doing things nowadays that they can get very good quality Scotch without aging it as long. And there was one of them that was a Loch Lomond, just like the song. And I think it was only aged 4 years or something like that, but it was pretty darn good. And then I had a Laproy. That's what I had on the boat when we were on Loch Ness. And that stuff was like, I think it was 15 years old, but that was good. Hey, when it comes to Scotch, the smokier, the peatier, all that, the more flavor it has, the more I like it. And that was really a good one. Command Center 10-8, thoughts on the new Colt Revolver 3-inch? Recently purchased one and absolutely love it. I don't know if it's a King Cobra, probably. They look like good firearms. I've never shot one. I don't even think I've handled one, but everything about them seems to be pretty positive. I'm glad to see Colt back in the wheel gun business. So I hope that's a great handgun for you. L. Bagley says you're either in the car trigger cult or you haven't shot one. Okay. I've shot a car, but it's been years and years ago, back in the day when car was still relatively new. The only ghost around here are the ghosts of ammo past. Yeah, I know what you mean. Most of this crowd is retired or just tired. I've been working, and this is in conjunction with this training thing that I was talking about a while ago. I've been working with another martial artist here for the last several months, going down usually once a week and, working on some different techniques with him. And last night we were doing ground fighting, and ground fighting is one of those things I hate. I do it because I know I need to do it, but most of the ground fighting I've done over the years has been on barroom floors and alleys and in mud puddles and things like that. But anyway, we're doing ground fighting last night, and my lower back today is letting me know I'm not 19 anymore. Savage Lee, you haven't really had any bad luck with any commercially produced ammo. Never had a dud or a squib or any. You know what? I just got an email today, and if some of you folks know Colonel K, that chimes in with a lot of comments to the videos. Let me make everyone aware of this because this is good to know information. Shucks. There was a particular ammunition coming out of Turkey that I guess has blown up some rifles. And I want to make sure everybody gets the word on this. There it is. Okay, this is imported ammo. It's ZSR 7.65 by 51 ammunition, and it's a particular lot that has been having problems. Imported in lot 15. So if you see any of that stuff on shelves out there, be careful with it. I guess there have been some overpressure issues with that ammunition. And like I said, that's hot off the presses. I just got that email a couple of hours ago. Jeff Tim, back in the 80s, Defense Criminal Investigative Service was suddenly armed with 2-inch Smith & Wesson Model 10s with 95 grain hollow point rounds. Is that right? Were those, no, those weren't Glazers, were they? I know back in the early 80s, there was a flirtation for a while with Glazers, but I think that's kind of, everybody's gotten that out of their system at this point. Savage Lee, most expensive gun I own is a Langdon Tactical. You know what? There's one of those in a local shop, and I think it's $12.99. Every time I see that thing, it calls my name, and I keep thinking, I've resisted so far, but it seems like an awfully nice pistol. Scott Person, I made a deal with Scotch when I was in college. I'd stop drinking it, and it would stop trying to kill me. You have to just sip it. You have to take your time with Scotch. You can't guzzle it. You can't gulp it. And I don't like to have anything in it. I don't want water in it. I don't want an ice cube in it. I want to just be able to sip it slowly and take my time and enjoy it. I've had old Scotch, young Scotch. They are all too wonderful. Haven't had a drink in 23 years. Congratulations. Good for you. Ben Crane, Lefroy is a peat monster. Have to be in the mood, but it's fantastic. Gravitate toward it. Towards spy sites mostly. Okay. Milkman, my local Cabela's has been heavily stocked on 9mm since last year. Last 2 weeks, very bare. Anyone else seeing this? I'm seeing ammunition coming back, and it seems like every time I go into a shop, one of the things I do is sort of evaluate the ammunition shelves. What's there? What do the prices look like? What's not there? And it seems like they're coming back. The prices on 9mm ammunition is coming down. The prices on 5.56 ammunition came down a while ago. Some of the other stuff is starting to show some decline in prices. Other things aren't, and I don't know. We still are in sort of this last vestiges of the ammo drought, and hopefully we'll come out of this until the next one comes around. I still am not seeing primers for reloading, and if you do find primers, they're just insanely expensive. Jeff Barron, there's a video online of a guy blowing up his gun. Yeah, and I think that's what prompted this email that was sent to me. Somebody saw that video. Jeff Tim, no, it was simple Winchester government loadings. Case came in unexplained and was purchasing the agent. Still want to meet the guy who carried the 8 3/4 revolver. That's odd. That's just so light. Of course, then again, we were talking about the 38 Super Load and the 357 Sig Load that are using a 95 grain bullet. And who knows, you drive the thing hard enough, it's probably going to fragment. Probably not going to get deep penetration, but it might do a lot of damage on the way. Natchez has primers and powder, not cheap, but free hazmat. Really? No, that's something at least. The last I knew, and this might have gone up, if you ordered in primers, there was a $25 hazardous material charge that was tacked onto it, which if you're buying, tens of thousands, an extra $25 isn't that big a deal. But if you're buying 1,000, then that adds $25 to your purchase price for your primers. Savage Lee is talking about medicinal. Okay, after multiple surgeries. Let's see if I missed anybody else's comments here. Speaking of Cabela's, I was in the Columbus Cabela's. When was that? About a week ago. I think it was a week ago tomorrow. And for whatever reason, the Cabela's they built in Columbus is like the smallest Cabela's I've ever been in. If I go to the one up in Michigan, it's huge. The one in Wheeling, West Virginia is huge. And then the one here in Columbus is kind of like, I don't know, it's a little bigger than a convenience store, but it's just, as Cabela's go, it's not that big. And the one up in Avon, Ohio is not a whole lot bigger. Jean-Michael, is it Grange? I'm not sure quite how to pronounce that. Says, I'm sorry, John. I do not speak or read French. I apologize. I wish I had a way to translate that. Jeff Tim had to buy, where'd that go? Had to buy a gun box with 6 elements capable of storing up to 8 3/4 inch barreled revolver. Really? Huh. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. I just saw somebody else mention the annual meeting. Anybody else planning on going there? If so, as I said earlier in the show, if you missed it, I'm going to be at the NRA annual meeting on I think it's the 14th through the 16th of next month. So if you're going to be there and you see me wandering around, feel free to come up and say hi. I would be glad to meet you. That way, at least I know there's real people out there. It's not just all a figment of my imagination, like Rookie Spartan said a while ago. Rich Powers 357 Magnum is still pretty hard to find. Hot Munitions has it. They've got 2 or 3 different loadings over there. So if you're looking for 357 Magnum, check with them. Scott Person, the biggest Cabela's is just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been to that one. My wife is from South Carolina, so we run up and down 77. My daughter's in school down there. And I've been in that one 2 or 3 times. In fact, I think the last time we went down there, we stopped for something. I don't remember what it was. Jean Michael and me, just a little American. Yeah, that's too bad. One of one of the things I wish I had done when I was in school, when I was too busy, not paying attention and chasing girls and everything else, I wish I would have taken some foreign language classes. I would love to, especially now with as much traveling as I've done, and we were in France. It's been several years ago now, but I don't speak French. We had people that had limited English. So I wish I was able to talk to more people. And that's just one of those things that, when you get older and you finally understand the value of being able to communicate with people and people who speak other languages. It's just, again, a regret that I have at this point. Okay, yeah, you're right, Scott. That Cabela's is just inside South Carolina, so yeah, I've run into those kind of issues myself with purchasing firearms or trying to purchase firearms out of state, and you can't do it, and they got to be shipped back to your state, and what a pain. Lane's Domain, GOA is better. And did you guys catch the live stream I did a while back where we had the gentleman from GOA on here? Mimi and I both joined GOA. I'm still, life member in the NRA too, as far as that goes. But The organization seems to be pretty good. They have joined in that lawsuit filed down in Texas to try to get an injunction on the pistol brace rule. And I check just about every day for an update on that to try to see if we're going to get that injunction. And I know the days are ticking down. I pulled up that form the other day, or that's actually not true. I went to the website to see about pulling up the form, just to see what it was going to require if I was going to have to do any kind of registration. And I didn't even get past the part of the website where you had to register to be able to go look at the form. It wants name and email and address and all this information that I just don't want to give the government. Of course, they have it all, but I don't want to go in there and provide all that if I don't end up having to, if we get that injunction or if ultimately that rule is overturned. So I'm still waiting to see what the final rule is going to, or the final decision, I guess, is going to be on all that. Rich Powers was surprised at the price of $380 also. Yeah. Although it's coming down some. I've seen some .380 ammunition that's a little closer to being reasonable lately. Rich Powers is going to the NRA show. That's good. Of course, Rich just lives down the road. We could meet for coffee, but we'll probably run into each other at the NRA convention. Jean-Michael, I said that at home, it was around 8 p.m. and that I was going to dinner. Good weekend. Well, thanks for joining, Jean. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking the time to translate that. And you have a great evening. Yeah, and Jeff Tim is saying that too. He's seen $380 coming down as well. And what are we up to here? At least this is ticking down. It's keeping track of the time, even though it still shows that there's nobody watching. 57 minutes. Probably wrap this up at about an hour, unless somebody else wants to jump on here at the end as a guest. But this has been a great stream. I'm glad we were able to get together. It's nice when I've got these times like this now, since I am retired these days, or at least retired for the moment, that if I've got a day like this that comes around and we can fill in the time space and throw up a live stream and just everybody get together for a chat, it's a lot of fun. Oh, ERJG 1954 made it. He wasn't properly prepped. That's a little bit of a inside joke, but I'm glad you made it, ERJG. It's been a great live stream. So I wish you could have been here to enjoy a little bit more of it. But in any regard, as always, when I close my live streams, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel, for participating in the live stream, for watching the videos. This YouTube experience of mine has gone beyond anything I might have ever expected it would be, because of all of you. When I started making videos back, whatever it's been, over 10 years ago now, I didn't know if anybody would want to watch anything that I produced or listen to anything that I said. And of course, back in those days, pretty much nobody did. But since that time, I like to think that I've improved the product that I'm putting out, and that those of you who watch the videos are really getting something from them. I try to make them entertaining. I try to make them informative. I try to keep them lighthearted. I try not to take myself too seriously. And the response from all of you has just been overwhelming. So thank you very much for supporting the channel. To my channel members, and I just got a new channel member today. Thank you very much for the subscription that you're paying, the monthly subscription. And I know I'm remiss. I need to do another members only function here one of these days, do a members only live chat or something. So hopefully I can get that back up in the not too distant future. But thank you to all of my channel members. You're fantastic. And you're the ones on the months where YouTube is restricting my videos, and the one for tomorrow, for crying out loud, which, so far as I can tell, doesn't violate any of their policies, is still in YouTube purgatory while they decide whether or not it's going to be monetized. But my channel members, you're the ones that that amount of money that you're contributing every month helps to offset some of those months when all of a sudden half the videos that I post are demonetized. So thank you very much. And I think that's going to bring us up to just about an hour. And thank you again to everybody who has joined. There's nothing else I can say. Thank you very much. You all have a great day and a safe and fantastic weekend. If you can join in the chat tomorrow during the premiere video, by all means do so. Catch you next time, folks. Until then, have a great, great day. Bye-bye for now.